Hey, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Pooja Sood, and I'll be your host for today's session, Breaking the Silos, Omnichannel Recruitment for Faster, Smarter Patient and Panelist Engagement. If you've run patient or panelist recruitment for a study, you know the moment. A candidate who was ready to enroll goes quiet, and by the time anyone follows up, they're gone. Not because they weren't interested, but because the response landed in one system while the callback lived in another. Today, we are looking at what happens when recruitment stops living across five disconnected channels and starts running at one coordinated funnel, with a live look at how that works inside the cloud-based platform. So let's get into it. But before we begin, quick housekeeping notes. Um, just so you know, you get most of out today. The session is being recorded, so if a colleague who couldn't join or you'd like to revisit anything later, we'll send the recording to everyone who has registered, and we'll also be posting it on our website. All participants are currently on mute to keep the audio clean, but please feel free to use the Q&A panel for any questioning along the way. We have dedicated Q&A session at the end, and we'll get to as many questions as we can today. If you run into any technical issues, please drop a note in the chat and our team will jump in to help. A recording of today's webinar will be posted on our website and emailed to everyone who have registered. You can always visit our website www.cloudbiz.com or reach us at info@cloudbiz.com. Right, and now here's what we have in store for you today. We'll start with quick introductions about who we are, what Cloudbiz does, and who's joining us today as speakers. Then we'll walk through two real recruitment scenarios that show exactly where candidates get lost when outreach isn't coordinated across channels. We'll look at the evidence for omnichannel follow-up, then walk through the recruitment workflow itself and the features that make it run. We'll bring it all to life with a case study and a live demo inside the Cloudbiz platform, including how Salesforce and Amazon Connect work together as a single data layer. We'll close with the economics of running recruitment this way and open the floor to a dedicated Q&A. And in just a moment, you'll meet the team walking you through it. So let's get started. Joining me today are two wonderful people who bring very different and equally important vantage point on this topic. First, we have Tunir Das, who leads global pre-sales at Cloudbiz and heads sales across Europe and rest of the world. Tunir brings 10 plus years across consulting, program management, and business development in the life sciences R&D and commercial space. And today he also drives the definition of our AI-driven use cases in clinical trials. Tunir, wonderful to have you with us. And then we have Surya, our practice lead for digital transformation. Surya has spent 10 years progressing from technical engineering into enterprise solution architecture and practice leadership, including product management and solution architecture roles at B2B SaaS platform provider. At Cloudbiz, he directs the professional services practice behind our omnichannel deployments, and he'll be taking us through today's live demo. Surya, great to have you with us.
Thank you for the introduction, Pooja, and nice to meet you all through this webinar.
Thank you so much, Surya. Great to have you with us as well as a speaker. And I'm Pooja Sood, your host for today. Feel free to connect with any of us after the session. Our details are on the screen. Okay, so for those of us who are meeting us for the first time, welcome. Cloudbiz is one of the fastest growing providers of AI-enabled eClinical solution natively built on the Salesforce platform. Our platform is 100% cloud native, built for scalability and modularity, so it can flex to your organization's specific needs, whether you are a Fortune 500 leader or an agile startup, moving faster to get therapies to market. Our comprehensive suite covers the full clinical spectrum, right from clinical trial management, clinical trial financial management, electronic data capture, electronic trial master file, patient recruitment, and safety and pharmacovigilance. Through our AI Innovation Hub, we embedded advanced intelligence directly into the trial and safety lifecycle, automating complex tasks and sharpening decision making at every stage, which is exactly what today's session is all about. We are ISO 9001 and 27001 certified and fully compliant with FDA 21 CFR Part 11, GCP, and HIPAA. Cloudbiz is also recognized in the Everest Group PEAK Matrix as major contender for both CTMS and EDC products. We are headquartered in Chicago and have offices in Toronto and Bengaluru. We are global and we are here around the clock. Now, beyond the core platform, we've built a family of specialized standalone AI agents purpose built for life sciences workflows, spanning clinical operations with our protocol intelligence agent, clinical trial management, trial master file automation, and safety and pharmacovigilance, which is exactly we are headed today. These agents aren't bolted onto disconnected systems after the fact, they're built natively into the platform so the intelligence actually understands the context of your data. All right, now with that, I will hand over to Tuni to take us through the scenarios. Tuni, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Pooja, for setting the introductions about Cloudways and also giving a sneak peek into the AI solutions that we are building. I would now like to take the discussion forward by, talking about, something I guess, every single recruiting personnel who is on this call would have felt at some point of time during their career. And that is, about that moment when a study that they're part of is, running perfectly fine, at least on paper, but yet, the enrollment numbers are just not moving. Before I, get into discussing the solution for this problem, I want to spend, the first few minutes dissecting it and understanding the root cause behind this. Because in most of the conversations that we have had with recruiting team over the last few years, we found something which is quite interesting, which is that, nobody says that they can't really find people unless it's, a very rare, disease trial that is being held. But what they rather say is, we did find the folks who were interested, but we just couldn't convert them or we could not keep them interested long enough to complete the study. And that is, in my opinion, a very different problem to solve, from a solutions perspective. So on that note, let me start with, very, a couple of situations that we frequently come across during our discovery calls, at least on recruitment challenges. So the first, case is, about a late stage readout where, the timelines got pushed. So, just think about this. You have the protocol which is finalized, the sites are activated, and everyone is waiting for the readout to happen. But then the enrollment is actually running way behind. Now, here's the part that kind of surprised us, when we spoke with the teams, because what we found was that the sites were never short of, having real, or I would say, not short of having willing candidates. In fact, the sites, definitely mentioned that there were people who did show up their hands and were very interested to take part in the trial. But what never happened was the conversion of that interest into a booked visit. And now, if you really look closely at how these outreaches were run to these individual candidates and participants, we see that it was run more in sequential waves, which means that take for example on day one there was an email blast sent out to the participants, and then there was an awkward silence for a couple of weeks wherein no communication was made. Then again, suddenly 2 weeks later, somebody pulled out a manual call list and started again dialing these patient leads. And this is exactly where the whole recruitment effort fell apart because once these leads stopped responding, nobody could really tell like what went wrong and when did these leads really stop taking interest in this particular trial. And so, as a direct impact of that confusion, the readout for this particular trial slipped, and everything downstream of that readout also got postponed. Now, let me take you through, another scenario which kind of deals in a certain different business segment, although the end results were effectively the same. Now, this is, more to do with cosmetics research, wherein the timelines bear even more, commercial impact. Now, in this particular case, there was a fixed launch date discussed across different functions and, taken into confidence, and finally the date was approved. And to kind of move these launch dates are fairly impractical because there's a lot of moving parts that have to finally come together and these dates are finalized. Now, what happened was, for these particular, cosmetic trials, the quotas that need to be brought in for the trial have to be demographically exact, which means that you need, certain number of panelists in each segment, and those numbers aren't certainly flexible. So you would exactly have to hit the percentages that have been mentioned. So for this, let's look at what happened. Just to summarize the situations and the sequences of event that we understood. So, a panelist had called on day two in the morning, they say around 9 o'clock in the morning, and the callback from the recruiting team did not happen for the next couple of days. In fact, it happened on day four in the evening, or rather in the afternoon. And after that, there was again a missed call from the participant, to which there was no response till day six. Now, as you can, possibly understand that by the time the retry to that missed call happened, the candidate's interest was gone, and he or she did not pick up that call after that. Now, as this trend kept on repeating across different panelist profiles, it led to underfilled segments, which were then finally, discovered in a spreadsheet, that too a couple of weeks later. Now, if we have to really look at both these situations side by side for a second, we will see that while both of these are from different industry segments, one being a regulated clinical trial and other being more from a commercial, cosmetics panel, having different budgets, different teams, and even different P&L objectives, but the failure was identical, right? So basically, neither of these trials they failed because of a shortage of people, but what really happened was that they ran out of reachable people for this trial. And the reason why this happened was because of siloed systems, wherein the volunteer data was sitting in one particular system, the calls were being made from another, and the SMS, the WhatsApp, and the email, various multi-channels that were part of this particular reach outs, they were all in different individual systems that did not speak with each other. And there was no single timeline that could serve as a vantage point, so nobody could really know when and where the drop of that candidate happened. And I already told this before, but just to re-emphasize, the two scenarios that you see in the top of your screen right now aren't really anecdotal, or we have just really came up with the scenarios out of thin air. But then there are in fact verified data that we cross-analyzed and also spoke with our individual clients and prospects, and accordingly we have come to understand that roughly 40% of terminated trials that we see on the clinicaltrials.gov website were stopped in fact due to insufficient recruitment numbers. All right, so moving to the next slide, please. Okay, so now you might be thinking that based on whatever we spoke before, this is more of a resourcing problem, right? So effectively, if you get more recruiters, more budget, then there would be more outreach, and effectively the problem would be solved. But then I would just request you to kindly hold on to that thought for a few more seconds, since I would like to show you two published studies that suggest an entirely different approach, a cheaper one, which kind of helps in boosting up numbers extraordinarily well. Now, the first one is from the St. Bartholomew's Hospital in London, and this study was done way back in 2014. So in this study, we had sequential cohorts wherein initially patients received only information sheet wherein the invitation was posted. Now the patients, supposedly read it, or quite possibly they didn't read that information sheet. Anyhow, the first real conversation that would have happened between the patient and the study managers or the recruiting managers would only be on the clinic on the day of the trial, and that too is dependent on the fact that whether they actually showed up or not. Now the result was that out of the total cohort that were contacted, only 45% actually got recruited. Now, after this result, the designers made one, small change to the entire flow of events, which was that, while everything else within the study stayed the same, information sheet, eligibility criteria, the research team made 2 reminder phone calls to each patient before their clinic visit. And once, they were, successfully enrolled, they were given a participant portal to kind of keep the engagement intact and continuous. And this led to this kind of led to a recruitment of 78% from the second cohort, which was an astounding number given the initial cohort only leading to 45%. Now you can just think about this scenario for a second, wherein having the same protocol and the outreach materials, one added the difference that one added voice channel could make to the recruitment rate, where it could jump almost by 23%, is extraordinary, right? So, to back this up, we kind of researched a bit more and we found out another study. Now, this is, from a pediatric ambulatory clinic RCT from 2016. And this one looks at a different end of the funnel, wherein, the participants who are already part of the trial and they would suddenly stop showing. So effectively, measuring the no-shows and trying to stop that is the aim of this particular study. So this was a multi-arm study wherein for the first arm, a standard, automated voice reminder was sent out to every participant before every appointment. We had one channel and one attempt was made to reach out to the participants, and we sort of had almost 38 to 40% no-shows for this particular study with that first arm. And for the second arm, the change that was made was, along with the automated voice reminder, there was also a voice message that was supplemented, or rather a text message was supplemented along with this voice reminder. And with that, addition of just one, messaging channel, the no-shows dropped from 40% to less than 25%. yeah, so effectively, but from both these scenarios, you can guess the pattern, right? In either studies, did anyone change the protocol? Neither was the eligibility criteria changed. Not did they add on more incentives for the for the participants. But then what changed was they brought in an additional channel, and the number of and the frequency at which the candidates were reached out, and that really made a shift. And that is exactly something which I would want to carry you through the rest of the session, wherein when follow-ups, when the follow-up channels they actually go up, and the patient visibility correspondingly increases, these silent drop-offs that we come across so frequently in clinical trial recruitment efforts, they will also come down. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Okay, so now let's look at how an actual workflow looks like from end to end, and this is where I would want to walk you through from left to right, because the value here is really in the fact that it is one continuous flow and not five disconnected activities. So it starts with setup. This is where the study manager would set up the study configuration and the volunteer eligibility criteria. And the important bit here is that it is just set up once, and then it is scaled up as and when you have more candidates joining in. Then what happens is reach, wherein a coordinated campaign is run across voice, SMS, and email. And these are not three different separate campaigns run by different people, rather a unified campaign with several channels and with connected interaction handovers. Then comes respond, and this is where the Amazon Connect and the IVL layer comes in. So because in this case, the IVL layer and the Amazon Connect is where you really drive the 24/7 interaction scenarios. Now, I would just like to take you slightly back into a few of the others one of the previous slides wherein we spoke of this scenario, if you remember, wherein response came in on day 2 morning, and the callback happened from the recruiting team on a day 4 afternoon, right? Well, once you get IVR, this changes, like this kind of scenario kind of changes completely, because now you have a system that can answer inbound requests around the clock. So if anybody calls even at 9 p.m. in the evening, that call is captured and not missed. And then we come to qualify, wherein the phone screening, the scoring of participants, and the scheduling of these participant visits to the sites nearest to them are taken care of very seamlessly. Finally, we have the scheduling and confirm. Herein, we empower the patients with self-service slot booking at their requested site locations, followed by confirmation and reminder calls from the recruiting teams. Now, finally, those participants who pass screening get access to a participant portal to track their participant status, payments received, e-consents, reconsenting status, and what more. So effectively, we ensured that patient engagement now becomes an ongoing, continuous activity rather than just being a momentary one. And then we have, handover and tracking, wherein the participant history, the real-time funnel, and the channel conversion metrics are all tracked, via real-time live dashboards. Now, before I move forward, just to give you a quick disclaimer, I believe all of you must already be aware of most of the steps that we have here, and I'm pretty sure you must be living these steps in your day-to-day activities for sure. But then what I would really want to highlight is that our vision is to make this all as a continuous integrated process, wherein every necessary patient engagement tool like a CTI or an SMS service is all available in a unified platform rather than being siloed applications. And that is really the value that we would like to propose through our omni-channel patient engagement platform from CloudWiz. And as we go through the next slides and the demonstration by Surya, you will get to understand this even more. Next slide, please. Okay, so now that we spoke of the challenges, the solution, as well as the connected stages that we have, let's just talk of some of the features that we are proposing as part of the omni-channel recruitment tool that will help to solve these problems. The first up is configuring the campaign, as a one-time activity, wherein we will configure the study and the campaign setup along with the volunteer database, IRB approved content, along with eligibility criteria filters, so that every time a new person or a candidate walks in or comes in through a web form, the IVR and an SMS reply, or even through a recruiter script, meeting the requirements that is set for a particular study, he or she will directly and automatically get included in the campaign reach outs. Next, post-campaign setup, running of the omnichannel cadences, wherein we leverage marketing automation software to activate these sequences. Up next is the patient engagement, which happens 24/7, and as we explained previously in the earlier slide, the IVR will play the main role here. Then we have the eligibility for a patient profile, and this is here where the system will automatically match the eligibility criteria for a study with a patient profile, which again is based on the patient's previous responses. And if the system finds that the eligibility criteria does not match, the way the logic is written in the software, it will automatically disqualify the patient early. So the recruiters need not, spend time on, reaching out to such candidates who would anyways not be eligible for that particular study. Then we have patient visibility and e-consent, wherein we enable patients with self-service booking features as well as ability to reschedule their visits. They can also be contacted for any potential waitlist backfills and manage their e-consenting process, seamlessly via a website or a portal. And to keep all of the operational factors that we spoke of previously, and have it tightly bound through live and interactive dashboards, we track the patient recruitment KPIs, wherein the system auto logs every touch point, site enrollment numbers, dropout percentages, campaign ROI against the budgets, and the various other metrics that you might be interested in. And this is where I think the I would say the awesomeness of our cloud-based PR and omnichannel solution comes into effect, because the setup of these dashboards and reports are more point and click and touch, and and drag and drop, rather than having any coding involved. So whatever KPIs you may need, we can set it up for you, and we also give you training so that you can set these up yourself as well. Moving to the next slide, please. Okay, so now let's take a turn and look at real and actual engagement wherein we made all of this happen. So this is for a customer which was running phase 1 global clinical trials across early phase clinical units across the US, the UK, and Germany. And the challenge was that they were stuck on a legacy in-house system with multiple limitations. Now, what they wanted was a properly digitized patient recruitment solution with omni-channel presence to increase their productivity, to give a better experience to their participants, and also to finally be able to get real-time analytics, which could help them to effectively measure their KPIs. Now, in order to meet this requirement, we deployed our omni-channel patient recruitment solution that managed cohort segmentation, campaign management, and outreach across their recruitment website, SMS, and outbound calling. And as next steps, the leads that came in through these sources were taken through online and phone screening into a single 360-degree volunteer profile. Now, a solution apart from all of this also enabled the sites to handle their own appointment slot creations, and participants were able to self-book slots through a participant portal with automated confirmations. The platform also ran a retention cadence outreach till the end of the study visit for certain participants as well, just to keep them engaged and not let them drop midway from a trial. And as a result of all of these efforts, the volunteer recruitment numbers and the engagements went up. The asset utilization improved while the participant dropouts actually came down. And as a summary effect of all of these individual factors, their intake of phase 1 studies went up, since the performance of this particular CRO went up as well. And this is really the point that we want to drive, and I think this is something that would kind of make sense to most of the participants here, because it's just not about the recruitment numbers getting better. It's about whether the unit the recruitment unit can take in more work with the same footprint without adding any more resources. Slide 6, next slide, please. Okay, so now, we spoke about the case study. Now let's spend a couple of minutes going through the layer underneath all of these that keeps the, the operations up and running, which is the integration of our cloud-based solution with the Amazon Connect CTI solution. So let's unpack what we have here. So number one is the volunteer reach out with integrated CTI. You have, click to dial and inbound screen pop directly coming on the volunteer's record. So no need for you to toggle between windows, no rekey, as well as your recruiter sees who's calling and their full history before they say hello on that call with the patient. Point two is every interaction gets captured as a data. So whether it is called metadata, records, transcripts, everything gets captured in the same timeline as the SMS, WhatsApp, as well as the emails that get sent out. Three is conversational analytics, which kind of captures the sentiment analysis during volunteer interactions, which actually give your recruiting team great insights on how to course correct their recruitment efforts. Up next is the one funnel view, wherein the leads from Cloudways PR get contacted through the CTI solution, and the corresponding metrics that get tracked do deliver key insights on the patient journey along with their own interaction insights. And the 5 is the structured export, wherein interaction data can also be exported out via REST API into your BI stack or any other data lake that you have in place, that from which you can run your more advanced analytics solution. Now, all of this would also be, showcased during the demonstration. So I would just request you to hold on to your, patience for just a couple of more minutes while I complete the slide deck and move to the demonstration with Surya. Okay, so the final slide, which talks of our AI-powered omnichannel agents. Now, till now we spoke of solutions that we have in place and we have deployed already with a few of our customers. But now let's look at the art of the possible in terms of our AI solutions and the solution. And these solutions, while they're very much, you know, while we are very much made a lot of progress in terms of having these available, but they are still under a certain phase of deployment at our innovation lab, and we'll try, as soon as possible to have these available in the market and deployed to our customers as POCs or as full-scale engagements. Now, the first is an AI agent that kind of acts as a primary contact for a participant. So instead of volunteers filling in an interest form and waiting for a recruiter to call them back, the AI picks it up straight away. Voice or chat, whatever may be the source, or whatever may be the channel rather, and captures the interest and the patient's basic demographics right there. It then, or rather the AI in this case, will then query the eligibility criteria in real time, and it will already know which studies that this particular person or the participant will be fitting in. And from there, it will run a conversational pre-screen, populating the data collection as it goes, and record stamps the constant directly within the CRM platform. And if this participant with whom the AI is having a conversation actually qualifies, it will go on to book us appointment slot on the spot. Now, the important bit here is the handoff, and which is like if it kind of hits a particular scenario wherein the AI is not able to figure out what to do next, it will just not dump the participant back to square one and again have the eligibility criteria call happen with him, but rather pass it on to a human agent with full context of the previous conversation that happened, and then the human can take over and effectively drive that conversation to a logical closure. So, as a recruiter, I guess you can already kind of, foresee the value this adds, but, let me anyways, break it down. So, the time to pre-screen definitely goes down, in fact, from hours to almost real time. Constant capture becomes very consistent and compliant every single time because it's not depending on whether someone remembered to read the script properly. And in fact, it runs 24/7, which matters more if you're running a campaign and the responses come in late at night. The second use case is quite different, and this one doesn't really replace the recruiter. It actually sits alongside him. The AI here joins the live call silently and listens to both sides. While the recruiter is talking, it is generating a structured clinical summary in the background. So the after call work that a recruiter has to do, in terms of the notes and the admin work, are essentially gone by the time the panelist hangs up and the recruiter already has this information available through AI. Now, what the AI can also do is it surfaces next best prompts and knowledge based links based on the conversations it is that the recruiter is having with the patient. So, say for example, if a volunteer raises an objection, in terms of or asks for any clarification regarding the eligibility criteria or anything regarding the study, then the recruiter would not have to find through a binder, answers for that particular patient, but rather the AI solution can itself prompt or rather recommend what answers might be given, and accordingly, the recruiter, based on his or her judgment, can take a informed call from there. So the value that we are offering or will be offered through this agent is threefold. Firstly, the recruiters get hours back from every day from their tiring after call work. Secondly, the recruiters can ramp up far faster because the guidance is right there in front of the screen rather than hidden within a bounder. And finally, the collected data hygiene improves a lot because the updates which are captured are right in the moment rather than based on memory of a recruiting person at the end of his or her shift. Okay, so that is all that I had for you in terms of the slides. I would now like to hand it over to Surya and request him to take you guys through the live demonstration of our omnichannel solution.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Tanir, for your amazing presentation on the background of this particular webinar. We have seen the process flow there, right, where from the start of a journey of a volunteer where they've showed an interest, and how does the recruitment process flow, and at what stages we have our tools involved for the recruiters to help the recruitment process enhance, or to complete the recruitment flow there itself. Now, I just wanted to ask the participants, one of the questions that I would like to ask is, Do you currently have a scenario in your organization where you have a telephony interface, right? Or you have a call center solution as a recruiter, but then you have to log into a different system to check if your volunteer database is available or not. Or if, for example, if I am calling one of your company to show my interest as part of the participation, right, in a study, and then you take my information, do a search within the clinical research system where all of your volunteer data set or panelist data set has been stored as a profile. Do you currently have that kind of setup in your organization? All right.
Yeah, I guess
Or
the participants can respond in the chat section. Yeah.
oh, okay, okay. Let me just telephony solution is separate from recruitment tool. Philip, yes. Thank you so much for commenting on that. And taking that scenario into consideration, I see that there are a couple of problems here. One, since the telephony system is separate, the capability of telephony system itself is not expanding, right? Two, how is that not expanding? Because your data that you where you have your volunteers or panelists, right, where you utilize that data for reaching out for your recruitment, or even trying to understand if someone calls in, if they have already participated in certain types of studies or not, is not clearly associated to your telephony system. There is a manual intervention where you kind of search the database and then understand what the volunteer goes through, right? And volunteer profile and their study participation, and maybe certain tools that are missing where you can even get an automation on the profile itself, what studies that they are currently matching for. And let's say, as a recruiter, there is also a capability that we are missing where we want to automate the bulk calling system, bulk SMS reach out, right? Appointment reminders, everything in one system. And then even if the systems are in silo, let's say you can tell Surya, I can connect it through integration. Yes, you can do it, but the comfort of having the data within one single platform and UI and the interface of your telephone and omni channels in one single UI is completely different. It definitely enables a different perspective, efficiency for a recruiter and whole study recruitment process itself. That is where we are saying that we are breaking silos, right? We are saying that, hey, on our platform, which is cloud-based patient recruitment solution. Although it is saying that it is patient recruitment solution, we use the same platform for consumer studies where they have to recruit panelists or where they have to reach out to the panelists to test the products. So it's a recruitment solution, right? Where we deliver the data model, data process, unified single view with the tools where recruiters can complete their recruitment process and understand the metrics. As you can see, right, as part of the user login that I have, I've landed on the homepage with my recruitment metrics. But then I also have a telephony interface here on my right hand side. You can see that I have clicked on the phone tab and I have a telephony interface opened. This is an omni-channel interface where I can call, and then I can even get incoming chats or SMS, interact with WhatsApp conversations, SMS conversations, or if it is through a web portal where you have placed a bot on the web portal, you can have the conversations queued, and your recruiters can have the conversations here. And even the emails can also come in here where your complete conversation architecture is defined and enabled here within the platform. So now that's how we are trying to connect all the systems and giving or enabling the tools for the recruiters with the advancements of the solution that we have. First, we are connecting the systems. Second, the data is now the data is communicated between two systems. Third layer, which is the AI layer, the context layer, because the, when we get into the call itself, right, or when we do the conversations, there is a lot of context that is moving from back and forth, right, and that context is taken through AI to even create the notes, update the attributes of your profile, update the information in your database, so your data set is perfect, and you have golden records in your system, and it helps your recruitment process to achieve more efficiency because your data is up to date, and then the recruiters can move forward, reaching out to the volunteers that are interested or potentially can participate in your study. So when you're reaching out to the more volunteers who would like to participate in the study, your success rate of the study is increased, and your time to complete the recruitment process is decreased, and the efficiency of your process where you complete screening visits, etc., are completely falling in place within the timeline of the study, right? Recruitment is crucial part in a study, right? There is no doubt about it. Without recruiting, you cannot test a drug, you cannot test a product, right? And recruiters feel that pressure too, right? When I talk about the pressure, is there any gap that you found out that you might need a tool, or you might need something that would help you? Like, is any scenario that you can provide as part of the chat window? Yes.
Oh no, go ahead, Surya. I will
Uh,
raise the questions if there are any. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now let's see the demonstration here, right? So I, as a user, logged into my patient recruitment application. My patient recruitment application is integrated with the computer telephony interface. Now this interface is provided by Amazon Connect. We are using Amazon Connect as our cloud call center solution, right? And we recommend to use Amazon Connect as a cloud call center solution from our solution expertise that we deliver. But you can also have different partners or vendors that can be integrated on this platform apart from Amazon Connect, right? Let's say if you have a different telephony cloud call center solution that you deal with, we can also have that placed. But our solution that we are trying to demonstrate is through Amazon call center solution. Now, Amazon Connect gives the capability to integrate the call center solution and the patient recruitment application that we have here. Now, as part of this, let me demonstrate what happens when a call is received as a recruiter. So let me make a call. So I'm making a call now, putting it on speaker. No, I pressed 1. Yes, I would like to know certain information. Looks like it is routing to one online agent, and I got it. And in the action, let me cut the call. Okay. So you have seen two operations that have happened. One, I made a call and there is an IVR capability. Then there is an IVR, interactive voice response, where a robotic voice can be programmed for providing the options within the Amazon Connect solution. Then the routing of the call happened where the system itself is checking which agent is available. So the routing has happened, and if one of the agent that is online was not picking the call for a certain period of time point, like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or 3 calls, 3 dial tones, 4 dial tones, right? It would immediately route to the next available agent. And that's how it took some time, and it routed the call to me. Soon after it routed to me, what happened was, since the systems are integrated, like, through an adapter, and it is very simple, connection that we have made. Since the data points are integrated, it immediately looked for a data point by searching the phone number within the volunteer profiles, right? We usually, generally, in a healthy early phase units where the healthy volunteers are required, we usually would have a volunteer profile where we would reach out for recruitment of early phase studies actually. So that in the same sense, we have a golden record of our volunteers that who would participate in our study, who are helping us with the study recruitment process. One of the profile is Barbara, and that is the number that has been associated to Barbara. And when the call has dropped in, it immediately searched that profile. Now it has reduced the time for a recruiter, or the pain that has been, a pain point where, when the call comes in, a recruiter, taking that information, trying to search the database, trying to get the information as quickly as possible. But the, volunteer is on the phone, as the volunteer is on the phone, right? That has been removed here. There is an automation where the profile has shown up. Now the recruiter has complete information of that volunteer. As the recruiter is on the call, he or she is getting to know what's the first name, middle name, certain informations like date of birth, ethnicity, etc. Now the request for the call was to say that, hey, I'm interested to participate in the study, right? Yes. Now, the recruiter has certain tools here, right? He can go to the recruitment tab where they'll be provided with eligible trials, a mixture of certain attributes from the volunteer profile like age, ethnicity, and the demographic information, smoking habits, and medical history, right? Based on that information, the eligible trials will be shown. And one of the eligible trial that, if the recruiter will explain about certain trials that they are eligible for, right? And let's say if they want to take a pre-screen, right, and book an appointment for them, they could also do that. Let's say, recruiter now clicks on study specific pre-screen, where the questions would be asked. I can ask volunteer, is the volunteer available to do all the study days? I'll go through the script that I want to, right? And even the script can be associated, like for the general procedures and instructions, those scripts can be shown on the UI for the recruiter, right? And that script can be read out here, right? And the recruitment process can be completed. So, and when you involve an AI within this context zone, right, where the conversation is happening and then the AI is involved, just like how meeting notes AIs have been joining our webinar right now, where the context is being churned into their memory and then they'll take out the bullet points. In the same context, we can have the AI embedded within this conversation where the context and the notes can be defined. Even certain parts of the manual process can also be automated, taking notes, updating the medical history data, right? And obviously with human in loop, right, where certain informations which are very sensitive will be updated but then asked for approval. So those are the kind of use cases that we can have if the systems are integrated rather than being silo altogether. Now, as part of this setup, I would also like to show how easy it is to, complete this configuration and how fast you can deploy or move away from your current call center solution to the newest and latest and greatest cloud call center solutions that we have in the market. And when it comes to Amazon Connect, it is pretty easy. So this is one of our flow that we have configured. And it is, as you can see, it is not coded. It is a low code platform and it is point and click. Since it is an Amazon Connect, which is in the Amazon ecosystem, there are other services that we can plug and play, right? Even the AI capabilities, even the analytical capabilities, and the data structure capabilities can be clubbed together to make a sentiment analysis. Why do we need to do all of this, right? See, from a recruiter standpoint, the work is becoming easy, but from a CRO standpoint or a sponsor standpoint, they would love metrics, right? They would like to know if our reach out was positive, if there is, any sentiment analysis, right? How should we change how we reach out, wordings, context, right? And even for understanding the pain points when they are getting the recruitment. Certain context provision with these kind of data tools that we have will help better articulate the recruitment process that we have, define appropriate cohorts that we have to recruit, and also the timelines that we have to recruit, which would definitely be an efficiency. Data and the metrics will definitely help sponsors and CROs to tell them, hey, we are doing our best here. This is how the metrics are. This is where we are in the metric zone, and also doing a sentiment analysis where why is the recruitment down on this month, right? All those scenarios can be understood, right? So now, as I stated, coming back to Amazon Connect, so here we can set a voice, as you can see, recordings, logs, and business hours, and then they can play the prompt. You can define what, when the dial tone, when it is pressed 1, press 2, press 3, what branchings that you would like to do. You can define flows, subflows, multiple flows to make even complex workflow of your call center can be imported into the system, and it is pretty easy to go live with the system, right? So that's the technical part, but let's come to the journey of the recruiter, right? Coming back now, as you can see, the call has been taken, right? And let's understand certain other aspects also. Let's say, what is that other information that a recruiter can understand, right? Appointment bookings can be viewed, right, and tracked. And now, if you want to automate the appointment bookings, there could be different aspects to it. Appointment reminder notifications can be sent automated through the system because the data is within the system. It can be integrated with the call center solution where you can automate the follow-up reminder notifications at a certain interval time points as you need it according to the client's requirement that we have, right? And there is, as part of the Omnichannel, one of the other features is to send out an SMS, right? So let's say I click on send SMS, and I would like to send a follow-up reminder. Now, the templates in the system can be configured. It will take the templates here. All of these are SMS templates within the system. Again, you don't have to copy paste from your script notes or a Word document or something. It is within the system where you can just select and it will pre-fill all the attributes that are needed. Example, hi Barbara. Barbara is a pre-filled attribute, right? It's taking the first name, and then other conversation is completely typed. And then I can now send an SMS. Let me just click on send SMS. And I'll just wait for an SMS from this number. I got the SMS. And I'll say, hey, I think I would like to move my appointment. Or maybe I'm not interested. If a message where it has been sent, that a volunteer was not really in the zone where he's little, showing unclarity decision. Right now, as you can see, I got an SMS and I'll accept it. It is routed. It's a two-way conversation SMS that you can do, right? And it also happens with WhatsApp, and it can also happen through your web portal also. Let's say, when I go to a web portal, I can have a bot here, or message center here where I can do two-way SMS, two-way messaging capabilities, right? And let me just quickly go here and say, hey, let us know your confusion. We are here to help. That's it. So I send the SMS again back. Right. So that's how the two-way conversations would work. And then once the conversation is ended, you can click end end chat, and then you can also have a capability to create a task so that the recruiters will work on the task while they are taking the other calls. There is a gap, right? Once the call is completed, you have to complete certain updates to the system. And again, you don't have to go to a different system to log in. You're here, right? You are in front of your volunteer profile, right? So you just create a task, but then you go back here and then complete whatever requirements that are there that you would like to complete. And you also have capability to see the call logs, how many calls have happened, right? How many inbound, outbound, right? Even the voice messages or voicemails that have been sent. Like, let's say if a volunteer has called you, but your queue is full, or it was after business hours, so it will send to the voicemail queue, and the voicemail has been set up. So in the morning, right, you will get in your homepage, you'll get the missed call log, and then for each of the missed call, what are the voicemails that have been associated, all this at one place, one dashboard view that you can experience that capability. Right, I would like to pause. Pooja, do you see any questions there, any scenario questions in our...
Yes, Surya. So, just checking in, are we showing a demo of what transcriptions into the VP for medication and medical conditions would be? It's there on the chat.
Let me just quickly go through it.
It's from Candice.
Amazon Is the Amazon Connect the only CTA that can be utilized to pull out and transcribe medical history, HX, and medications into the volunteer profile? It is not, but it is sophisticated, right? Because it's in the Amazon ecosystem, the capability and the and when we put in other blocks of services like contextual AIs into the system, what happens is you are leveraging that uh, 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 you know uh, Amazon's service capabilities to far more enable your system. So this system is a it is not a closed system like you see with other vendors that you have, right? You can build the blocks. Let's say you have first the call center layer, then you can add the AI layer, then the layer where once the AI context has been trained on the medical history and other things, and then we have the automation layer, how to update the data, right? The ecosystem helps you to build the use cases very easily. That's the reason we stated, Amazon Connect gives that flexibility for us in our, business areas where we wanted to develop a unique process use case, right? Uh,
And then, Surya, sorry, just also wanted to point it out. We are just 6 minutes left for this webinar. Um, was there anything that you wanted to conclude as part of the demo so we could take whatever questions are there? So
Yes, yes. As you can see, call logs, history of the volunteer profile, interests, and one of the cool features that you can also get is, I love this, right? Volunteer segmentation, right? It is lifesaver for all our recruiters who are using this application, right? You can select a study, and based on your volunteer profile data, right, it will filter out the volunteers that could be eligible for your study, right? Taking all the parameters like active study participations, medical history, smoking history, and you can also have the filters defined and applied as needed. And once the filtration is completed, you can have them added to a campaign. And how does this help you? Right? Once you add them to the campaign, from the campaign, you get certain tools, right? We call it as recruitment campaign. You get certain tools like where yes, you can if your marketing uh, uh, tool is connected to the Salesforce, you can push a post, or you can push this participant interest data, right, or the data that you have, and have the Facebook feeds run through their email or etc. Or if you want to send an SMS campaign, you can utilize the same capability that is there, which is connected, and by click of a button, you can have the SMS template selected, just like how we demonstrated, and then moved out. So this is the power of getting everything together, right, rather than silo. This is how the recruitment team should handle their data and recruit participants for their study with the power of data and the tools integrated in one place. And that's how omnichannel is far more useful rather than being its omnichannel as a silo system. And then on top of it, to end this, right, we have dashboards, reports and dashboards that will tell you how many interests you got from various channels, how is your campaign going on, right, recruitment per month, etc. Many more, right? And I would like to take a pause here, and I would like to stop my screen share also. This is the end of the demo. Thank you so much, and Pooja, you can take over.
Yeah, thanks so much, Surya and Tunir. Surya, did you cover Candice's question? Just as part of the demo, she was just checking in if we are covering transcriptions into the BP for medication and medical conditions.
N- Not today. Those are that is something we'll have it as a part two. Uh,
Okay.
uh, just like how we have movies, part one and part two, we'll have a demo of part two with a beautiful
Got it.
demonstration on
Got it.
medical chains and conditions. Yeah.
Got it. So, Candace, I think what we could do is we could just book a one-on-one meeting with you, and we could just take up all the questions in there and do a detailed demo. Should that be okay? Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, that's great. So we have 3 more minutes to go before the webinar ends, and we are still taking any questions if you may have. And Surya, Tunir, like while we just wait for the team members to share their questions, like is there any other FAQ that you've come across as part of your demos and interactions with uh, your network? Um,
So the one of the critical item that everyone asks is how is the transition, right? When we are dealing with these kind of projects because they already have a telephony system, right? The frequently asked question is, can we port the number that is there? Right? Yes, you can port your existing number to this system. That capability is available, which means you won't lose your existing number that you use for call center, right? You can port the number within the system and then to move to the new system with all these capabilities that you've seen. And Sharon has stated, how can I reach out? If you have any other questions, Pooja, is there a
Absolutely. So you could reach out to me directly. I will help set up calls with the speakers, and in case if you want to go into detailed demo, so I will help set up those calls. So my email is pooja.sood@cloudbase.com. I've just dropped that in the chat as well. Just in case, if that's not what you want to do, you could always reach out. You can log on to our website www.cloudbase.com. Either you could go on contact us or book a demo. So either or, you have all these options available. And yeah, and then with that, I think we could close the session today. Thank you
yes,
so much.
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I hope it was great learning and you found the demo quite interesting as well. The recording of today's webinar will be sending it out to your emails tomorrow. And a recording of it would also be posted on our website for your reference at any point. On behalf of Tunir, Surya, and our entire CloudBiz team, thank you so much. And I hope to see you next session next month. And everybody who has requested for a call, I will just send out an email to you right away, and you could reply on that, and I'll set up a call. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. See you next month.
Thank you, team, and thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. And I hope we learned together something today. Take care. Bye bye.